Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olivia, and I'm going to be going through this Houzz webinar this afternoon, which is very exciting. So this webinar is just for students of or alumni of the Interior Design Institute. So it's really exciting that now we have just recently partnered with the school to provide a lot of kind of additional benefits for students and ex-students or former students. And I know a lot of you know a lot about Houzz already, and some of you know nothing at all. So I think this is a really good opportunity to kind of go through who we are, what we do, the benefits that you can tap into, and just kind of other opportunities from there as well. Just for a little bit of housekeeping. So this is our agenda today, and today we're also using the GoToWebinar system. So if you do have any questions at any time, or you can't hear me or anything like that, do just look on the right hand side, and there is a section for questions and also a section for chat. So you could just put in your question or your comment in there, and I can try and answer you during the session or just after. I should also say that this is recorded today. So if you do miss anything or you want to hear something again, you absolutely can just by listening and watching to the recording, which I will send around after this. So what I'm going to be going through today is what's on the screen here. So a bit of a Houzz reintroduction or just fresh intro. I'll go through the 5 layers of Houzz, what they are, how you can use them, and then dive into the profile itself. So your Houzz profile and how to maximize your exposure across Houzz. And then I'll also touch on Pro Plus, just how you can really take your profile to the next level, excuse me, and just some other opportunities with Houzz as well. So Houzz is a website, it's an app, and it's the world's largest online platform for home design and renovation. So it's really fantastic that it is kind of this one-stop shop for everything to do with home design and home renovation. So it started in the States years ago, maybe like 10 years ago, and has since really evolved to have so many amazing opportunities for professionals and homeowners on the site. So basically what Houzz does is give homeowners and just regular renovators such a wealth of information about home design. So they can come on here to look for ideas, to look for inspiration, but also to ultimately hire a professional. So therefore, for professionals who use Houzz, it's a fantastic place for you to get in front of a new audience. So you can use Houzz to reach new clients and this really relevant audience. Use it obviously to build your brand and your online reputation, your online presence. And you can really use Houzz to work smarter rather than harder online, because of course it's such a relevant and very vertical platform that is just focused on your area of expertise. So Houzz did start over 10 years ago in the States, and I know a lot of the people from the school are international, so not just from Australia, where I am currently, but all around the world. So it's really great that Houzz can really help anyone in any country around the world. It started in the States in 2009 by Adi and Alon here. So Adi and Alon are a husband and wife, and they basically went through their own terrible renovations. So they were trying to renovate their first house, and they had an awful time doing it. They really struggled to find the right inspiration, find the right professionals, even to just articulate their own personal style. So they decided to really do something about it. They thought, of course, we're not the first renovators that have had these issues, and we can really use our tech backgrounds to make this such an easier and perhaps more fun process for other renovators or other homeowners along the way. So they created Houzz, which started in Palo Alto, which is where they still live now and where our head office is. And since then, it's expanded all across the world. Australia was the next one, and Houzz Australia has been around for about 4 years now. But we also have local sites all over the world as well, which is really exciting. And not only have our offices grown, but the site itself has really expanded. So now Houzz basically has these 5 key layers. So when I talk about the 5 layers, this is what I'm referring to. So photos, editorial, products, discussions, and a service directory. So I'll go through all of these in a little bit more detail, show you some examples. But what's really cool about these 5 layers is that they're so distinct and so unique to each other, but they're tied together by such smart technology that just really allows this whole process of home design and decoration and renovation just to be seamless and really kind of interconnected. So our first layer that I'll talk about are photos. So the photo stream you can find up the top left, and it's also all these layers are available on the app as well. So photos are obviously really important, and if you've come across Houzz before and you've spent any amount of time on the site, the first thing you'll notice is it's a really visual platform. So yes, Houzz is very visual. We have over 17 million photos on Houzz, and the really great thing about these photos is that they are all uploaded by professionals themselves. So I don't upload these, our team doesn't upload these, but actually all these photos come from professional profiles. So when you sign up with a professional profile or even a student profile, any photo that you upload to your own profile and your own projects page automatically goes in this photo section. And that's so important because this is where people spend the most amount of time. They're looking for inspiration, they're looking for ideas, they're saving photos into their idea books, which is like a virtual scrapbook. And the really cool thing is Houzz protects you so much. So you can see that the names of the professionals or the designer is under each of these photos. That is not just kind of text. It is a watermark on these photos. It is also a link back to your profile and to your website too. So people, whenever they're saving your photos or even browsing these photos, they can always see who did it and contact you directly. Then we have products. So products work much the same way as the photo section, but obviously product specific. So in Australia, and actually everywhere in the world except for the USA and the UK, our product section is just a showcase page for products. It is not a shop or a marketplace, so you can't buy products from this area. If you are in the States or in the UK, you can purchase products directly from Houzz, add them to your cart, and it works just the same as other e-commerce platforms. And that's also really exciting. So you can see that just in Australia, we have nearly 20,000 products, and you don't buy them straight off the site in Oz, but it's obviously an amazing place to showcase products and to find some local designers, local brands, check out local retailers as well, all in this section. Then we have Find Professionals. So this is our directory listing. So as soon as you've signed up with a professional profile, you are automatically listed in here, which is really great because obviously renovators, people looking to hire someone are going to jump straight into this section and they can search by location and by category to find the right professional for them. And we give them a little snippet of who you are and what you do on this page, but so they can check you out a little bit more, they just click on your name and it links straight to your Houzz profile where they can really get to know you. And we'll talk a lot more about your Houzz profile itself a little later. Then we have Houzz Stories. So this is our editorial section. And for students especially, this is such a fantastic resource for you. So we have these in-house editorial teams all across the world that produce a huge amount of content for this section of the site. So they feature local designers, local products, local projects. They write just so many stories every single week, a huge amount of content. It also goes out in our 2 newsletters weekly. And any article that you see in here is not just from your local site, so from, say, Houzz Australia, but you can also have access to the Houzz France articles and the US and Russia and everything. So a lot of content from international, a lot of design ideas, tips and tricks, interviews with other professionals themselves as well, case studies, really, really cool stories in here. And I'll show you a couple of other ways a bit later on how you can actually become a writer for this section or get a little bit more involved in the Houzz editorial side of things as well. Then our fifth layer is advice. So this is our Houzz Discussions. So this is a great place to kind of just get involved a little bit more in the community itself. So it's discussions where you can post a comment, post a poll, post any kind of discussion you like. You can also comment on other people's to get a little bit involved in the community, to start chatting or networking with other professionals or other students, or to just give a little bit of advice to someone that's potentially going through a bit of a design dilemma. So those are our 5 layers, and those are so interconnected, and they really do just keep our consumers very interested, but also they provide a lot of additional exposure for our professionals that are on the site. Just to kind of give you a bit of a scope of how big we are now, Houzz now has 40 million unique users that use the site every single month. That's globally. Just in Australia, we have 1.5 million users, which is pretty huge considering our size. Now have over 1.5 million professionals that are listed on the site. Our app has won Best App of the Year at the Google Play Awards. We now have offices all around the world and have this huge global community. So it's really exciting and really just such a relevant audience for you to be in front of. We also know, and I know I've said that we're very relevant audience a couple of times, but we really do know that as a fact. So not only do we have this huge audience, but what's really exciting is that we do these local and international surveys every single year to really find out who is using Houzz. And these are some of the stats that we get from the most recent surveys. So we know that in Australia and across APAC, that 90% of our users own their own home. And in fact, nearly 25% own a second home as well. In the last 12 months, 57% have renovated, and they spend an average of 4.5 months planning their next project. So a really good audience to be in front of. We know as well that our audience skews to be a lot more female. The average age of our user is 48 years old, so they're a little bit more established in their life. They also are not just active renovators, but they're a little bit more cashed up. They actually earn twice the national average income on average across Australia too. So really fantastic audience to be in front of, and people that are just fantastic potential clients. You know, that kind of demo is a really great kind of ideal client. We also know why they hire professionals. So this is a good slide that has come out of our recent survey as well. So what a couple of great takeouts are from this slide is that when people are looking to hire a professional, a designer, a builder, this is what they look at. And the best thing on here is that the lowest cost option comes right at the bottom. What people really want to look for in a professional is someone that has good reviews, good recommendations, obviously has experience with a similar scope, communication skills, and a personality that they can actually get along with. So this, I think, is really relevant, and these 4 top criteria up the top, obviously excluding the lowest cost option, those are things that you can really address in an online presence. So those 4 things are really things that you can look at on your own Houzz profile, but not just your Houzz profile, obviously on your website, on your Facebook or your blog, whatever. You want to make sure that you are showing off your personality, communication skills, some projects or some similar scope of experience, and good reviews and recommendations obviously go a long way as well. We also know that trying to avoid the kind of digital age, while is kind of, some people can find it quite, they can resist quite a lot. Other people are really diving headfirst into it, and that's what I would really recommend. So we are a digital society. 85 times on the screen here are the number of times that someone checks their phone every single day. So when someone is checking their phone 85 times a day, that's where they're doing the most research, especially if I'm someone that's looking to renovate my home, I'm in the middle of doing a home project, I'm going to be probably on the go, I'm going to be looking at my phone a lot. So you kind of want to be in that game. So you want to make sure you are available online and that people can find your work, they can find your details, and all of the kind of platforms that you're on and that you're using are optimized for mobile. So again, this is something that Houzz is. If you're on Houzz with a profile, you will show up in Google results. They'll be able to find you on the app or on, Safari or whatever. So we can kind of tick this box for you as well. So let's dive into your Houzz profile itself. And I know a lot of students already have Houzz profiles, some maybe don't, but I think it's good to kind of dive in and give an overview of what you can really do on your Houzz profile. So first of all, it is free to sign up at any time. And this is a really fantastic looking profile. So this is quite a robust, really beautiful profile here and something to really aim for. And you can check out some good profiles or just, take a bit of a stalk about what other people do to their profile by literally just going to that Find Professionals directory page and just checking out the ones that stand out to you and really consider why they stand out and what's resonating with you over their profile. So straight away, I can see in this profile, a lot of boxes are ticked. So we can see a lot of text, there's a lot of contact information. I can get a great sense about Megan Brown and who she is and what she does from all of her overview text. On the right-hand side there, I see she has 7 reviews, 14 projects uploaded, and those photos look really professional and quite beautiful. And then we can also see on the left-hand side that her other social media buttons are there and already linked. She's won a couple of awards, earned some Houzz badges, 180 followers. So this looks like a really fantastic profile. So first of all, when you're signing up with your own profile, it's very, very easy. All you need is an email and a password, and you can put yourself in the category of interior designer and decorator, or if you're still a student and you kind of just want to sit and idle in that category before you put yourself in interior designer, you can also choose student and then just change it later. The first tip I will give you for your Houzz profile is really make sure you're filling out all of the text details. This will really help you with search results. So not only will it help you with search results, which is very important, shouldn't be overlooked, but it will also just really give the viewer and that consumer that's coming across your profile a great sense of who you are and what you do. So this is your opportunity to really show off your personality, your communication, your organization skills, all of those kind of points that we looked at on that previous slide that I was just showing. So on Houzz, you can write quite a lot of a business description or a little about you overview. You can also include a lot of services provided. You can put in all of the areas you work in, any certifications and awards you've won, and then obviously all of your contact details as well. And do note that the more you fill out here, the more likely you will be found in search results. And not just within Houzz itself, but on Google results as well. Because we have really fantastic SEO, and I'm sure if you just search for, interior designer or interior designer Sydney or anything in Google, a lot of Houzz results will show up on that first page. So piggyback of our already really fantastic SEO by just making sure that you're ticking all of those boxes and including quite a lot of detail in your own Houzz profile. You can edit your profile and all of the text on it at any time by just going into this edit profile section and filling out all the info. One really cool thing that I want to show you that I know no one has done yet is now add the Interior Design Institute badge. So a really great thing that has happened in the past month is that the Interior Design Institute have created their own Houzz profile. So this means that anyone that's associated with the school, so if you're a current student or a former student, you can add that affiliation badge to your own profile. So you can do that just where I've highlighted down the bottom. Just search for the Interior Design Institute, click add, and that will then add it to your own profile. So not only will that add this badge to your profile to make, you can see that you are affiliated with this fantastic school. It's definitely a mark of credibility and a little mark of an edge as well. But you will also then be listed on the Institute's Houzz profile as well. So this allows for some additional exposure straight away. So not only have you improved your profile, but you'll be listed on the school's page. You'll then be listed under as a member. And also, this is an example from a different association. If you click into that members section, then anyone can search just via the members as well. So if I'm someone that's looking for an interior designer, I come across the Institute's page, I could actually go straight to their member list and contact someone straight from there. So this has just given you an additional amount of great exposure, a real mark of credibility. So I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to add that badge to your profile. And of course, if you are having trouble doing that or you just want someone to do it for you, just send me an email and I'll happily just add that to your profile. Now, moving on to photos. So I mentioned that photos are obviously very important. So Houzz is a very visual platform. So obviously getting some project photos up there is super important. And I know if you are a current student or you've just finished, just graduated, it is a little bit difficult to have some, polished professional project shots, and that is totally fine. You can, of course, upload projects from school or any kind of, little vignettes or anything that you have to do as part of your training. Before and afters are fantastic, drawings as well, progress shots, anything like that to just give the viewer a little bit of flavor about what you do and what you're capable of is really, really important. On your Houzz profile, treat it like an online portfolio. So you can have as many projects as you like with as many photos as you like on there. And it's a really easy thing to do. So just from your profile, you click on the new project button and you can just start filling out all of this info. It's very user-friendly, it's very intuitive. We're always here to help if you need it, and there's a lot of Houzz tutorials on the site as well. You can upload as many photos as you like into a project, so you can, if you have 100, do 100 at once to make it easier. And then once those photos are uploaded, there's some really cool tips and tricks that I can just show you now to really make sure that you're working your photos as hard as they can. So you've uploaded a photo to Houzz, which is great. You filled out all that initial info, but you want to make sure that it is showing up in the really relevant results. So take this photo, for instance. I've just uploaded this photo, and this photo is getting a lot of exposure. What you can do is click on this little pencil in the bottom right-hand side, and that takes you to the editing side of a photo. So this is where you can really go hard in adding a lot of detail to a photo to make sure that it will show up in the living room category. It will show up if someone searches for a yellow accent rug or a wooden hippo. We can make sure that it's coming in all of those different filters. So first of all, my first tip is to make sure that any photo you upload is in the correct category. So you can select the correct room category up the top there. There's also a lot of different subcategories if you're uploading just a product shot rather than a room shot. And then depending on what category you put this photo in, that will then change all of the other right-hand side filters. So because I put this in living room, it then gives me all these different living room facets. So things like the living room type, the TV type, fireplace fireplace surround, those kind of things that are a little bit more relevant to a living room. If I had put this in kitchen, it would then give me different filters for the type of splashback or the type of fridge or sink or all those type of things. The more information you can provide, the more exposure you're going to get. And I would really recommend you write a little caption for each photo too. People absolutely love that. They love reading it, but also it will just help you appear in more results too. If you would like to work with a new photographer or you've never worked with a professional photographer before, I would definitely recommend that you check out the Houzz Photographer Network. So this is a network that is exclusive for people who are listed as a professional on Houzz, and it basically is like a matchmaking system that matchmakes you as the professional with a photographer. So these photographers are all on Houzz, so you can check out their profiles as well. And they've basically given Houzz professionals a couple of really fantastic deals. So you could get like 15 daylight photos of your work for something like $250, which is a really great deal. And for someone that's kind of straight out of school, just graduated, or just finished your first project, this is something that is a really good opportunity to get some really great professional shots that you can really just use straight away on any kind of online profile. The next thing are reviews. So reviews I showed before were the #1 hiring factor when it came to hiring a professional. So people look for good reviews, good recommendations, especially online. So even if you get a recommendation from your best friend or your mum or whoever, you always kind of want to validate that by going online and checking out any kind of online reviews. On Houzz, we make that super easy for you. So on Houzz, you literally have this little get reviews email that sits within your profile. So you can just log into your profile, you can put in an email address of who you want to send this to, and just write a little message like, hey, I'm on Houzz, would really appreciate if you wrote me a quick review. You can send that straight from here, and then the review will come through to us before it goes on your profile. So I would highly recommend you ask anyone else you've collaborated with. So any client, but also any other designer or decorator, maybe tutor or anything like that, to try and get a couple of reviews on your profile. Start with a starting point of trying to get to 3. Once you've got to 3, that's a real kind of ticks a box in our back end. And upwards of 3 is really fantastic. So just try and get to 3 first. So engaging in editorial. So I did mention that we have this fantastic editorial team that sits in our offices all around the world. If you fancy yourself a little bit of a writer, you want to kind of check out the kind of stories that we're already doing on Houzz and see if any of that kind of piques your interest or piques any kind of ideas or inspiration in you, you can actually get in touch with me or get in touch with our editorial team to try and write for us as well. So there's a couple of different options. You can actually just submit a design project that's been recently completed that they can check out and do a potential feature on. You could just put up your hand and say, yes, I want to contribute to any kind of article, or you could submit an entire written article already for our review. So there's a couple of different options. Right at the end of this presentation, I'll just leave my email address, so you can always kind of check that out and get in touch that way. But of course, getting involved in editorial is a huge amount of exposure because, as I mentioned before, any news story goes out in a newsletter that goes to 250,000 people every week, and any story that's published on Houzz is not just accessible by the local community but also by international. So huge amount of exposure for really just quite an easy amount of work. And then idea books. So idea books are something that I think I mentioned like quite early in the piece, but an idea book on Houzz is a virtual scrapbook. So any single photo on Houzz has a save button, which you can click on and save it into your own idea books. So on Houzz, you can have an unlimited amount of idea books, and I think I personally have like 200 or something. So these are really fantastic for just saving your ideas, and not just saving photos, but you can actually save complete articles, you can save professionals, projects, products. You can save basically anything on Houzz into individual idea books. You can make little notes on those, and then they just all sit on your profile. But the real fantastic function of these idea books is that you can collaborate with clients using these. So you can actually invite your client or whoever else you're working with into an idea book. So then you can both be saving photos at the same time. You can be writing notes under each other's photos and having that whole kind of collaborative conversation in one place. It's very easy to do. You just click on this Add or Edit Collaborators button. You just need to put their email in. You can make it private or public, depending on what you want. And you can just make them an editor. So then, like I said, you're both able to save photos and make notes under each other's photos too. It's really a fantastic way to collaborate. And then if you've already got your client online and they're already saving ideas, it makes it a lot easier to ask them for a Houzz review after as well. So now I will just kind of dive into the Houzz Pro Plus program. So everything I've spoken about before now has kind of been circled around the organic profile. So you can sign up for Houzz for free, excuse me, and you can have an organic growth and organic reach on Houzz forever. So you don't have to pay and don't feel like you ever have to completely pay for a profile at all. But we know that to take your profile to the next level and to really get some local targeted branding, we need a system for that and a really fantastic program. And that's where Houzz Pro Plus came in. So Pro Plus allows you to really target a local area that you work in or that you wish to get more work in. And it really pushes your work, your photos, and your profile in front of those eyeballs, basically. So say if I'm in Sydney and I live right in the city, but I want to start getting more work in Bondi, I can basically buy Bondi as an area. And as an interior designer in that area, I can choose to dominate that basically. So now anyone that logs into Houzz from Bondi will be kind of constantly seeing my projects come up and my name come up and my targeted ads come into their feed. So we do that in a few different ways, and it's really fantastic native advertising as well that doesn't look like big flashy ads at all. So we have sponsored photos within this photos section. So they are very native, like I say, and the really great thing is that this is what a regular photo looks like, right, in the photo section. Of course, it's a beautiful photo. I can see up the top it says Ethos Interiors and that it's a Queenslander renovation. So from here, I can kind of guess, okay, it's an interior designer, probably in Queensland, just from guessing, but I can't really get much more info from this photo without clicking through into the name. With Pro Plus, we give you sponsored photos that look like this. So even if someone's just searching in the photos section, your photos will always look like this. So not only do you get this one hero image, but you also get 6 click-throughs, a call to action button down the bottom, a little byline to say exactly who you are, and another caption as well to really make sure people understand who you are and what you do. So this really stands out straight away and really encourages people to get to know you and to click through your work as well. You also get enhanced directory placement. So you are on the first page of that Find Pros directory. And like I said, anyone that is in that chosen area of yours will constantly be seeing your name. We also give you locally targeted ads in the stories section and in the advice section, as well as targeted ads in our newsletters that go out twice a week, as I've mentioned a couple of times. One of the most fantastic aspects of the program is the access to analytics. So you can really get such a deep dive into your photo statistics, photo impressions, profile clicks, profile impressions, all of these different metrics, which are really fantastic and so useful. You also get call and message tracking to track every single lead that you get from your Houzz profile. All of the benefits are available on any device as well. So when you join the program, you not only get all of these for a desktop, but also for any mobile device. And probably my favorite part of the whole program is the account management. So you literally get a dedicated person that looks after your profile for the whole length of the program. So they give you advice and development. They call you every 4 to 6 weeks to go through all of your analytics, to build a personal program, give you branding advice. They take such a weight off your shoulders, and they're a really, really fantastic team. So that is Pro Plus. So this is kind of an overview of all of the local branding options that we put together within the program. And the program really starts at a couple of $100 a month. So say like 200 to really dominate your local area is kind of definitely worth it. And we have a lot of different success stories and tips from real pros that are on the program online that you can check out at this address here. So houzz.com.au/pro+. You can check out a lot more info there. If you want to know anything more about Pro Plus or anything to do with Houzz, just please email me. So like I said, my name is Olivia and I will look after you for whatever issues you have across the site. So please email me any questions or concerns or anything at all, and I can point you in the right direction. And I have just left a couple of other resources on here that I think are really relevant and quite cool to kind of check out as well. So we do events in person as well as do other webinars quite periodically across the site too. So keep up to date with those on the events page. We also have some fantastic tutorials, recorded webinars, things like that in the Pro Center. A lot of FAQs and support, articles and tips about branding, about marketing, about using Houzz on this Tips for Pros link. And then lastly is where you can get in touch with Editorial. So of course you can email me directly, or you can check out a little bit more about the kind of details of Editorial submissions in that last link that's on the screen there. So I will hang around a little bit after this so I can answer any questions or chats that have come through just while I've been chatting. But please feel free to email me at any time to kind of just see, even if it's just how do I add the Institute badge to my profile, I can help you out with that or anything else. So thank you so much for joining. We will share the recording of this a little bit later as well, so you could check that out too. But thank you so much again. I hope to see a lot of students and former students joining the Interior Design Institute's profile page very shortly too. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you.